20 black ones, celebrities who overcame life-threatening diseases. What if the biggest threat to your favorite icon wasn't the paparazzi or a falling career, but a silent war happening inside their own body? From Toni Braxton's sudden collapse to Magic Johnson's world-stopping announcement, these legends faced biological battles that nearly silenced their greatness forever. At Black Excellence Legends, we are diving deep into the raw, untold medical odysseys of 20 icons who proved that true power isn't just about fame, it's about surviving the unthinkable. Don't let your history be a mystery. Hit that subscribe button and join the legend. Your health could depend on it. Nick Cannon. Nick Cannon, the multifaceted titan of American entertainment, has spent over a decade navigating a silent internal war. In January 2012, while vacationing in Aspen, the energetic host was suddenly sidelined by a terrifying medical crisis. What began as intense fatigue and shortness of breath rapidly escalated into acute kidney failure and blood clots in his lungs. This wasn't a temporary exhaustion from his relentless work schedule. It was the onset of lupus nephritis, a chronic autoimmune condition where the body's defense system mistakenly attacks its own renal tissues. For a man known for his boundless Energizer Bunny persona, the diagnosis was a sobering wake-up call. Lupus is notoriously unpredictable, often causing debilitating flare-ups that include joint pain, extreme lethargy, and systemic inflammation. Facing the reality that his kidneys were functioning at a fraction of their capacity, Cannon underwent rigorous treatments including chemotherapy-like medications and extensive hospitalizations. However, instead of retreating from the spotlight, he chose radical transparency. He transformed his health journey into a public educational platform, debunking myths about the disease and highlighting how it uniquely affects men who are diagnosed far less frequently than women. The road to stability required a total overhaul of his lifestyle. Cannon moved away from a high-sodium, fast-paced diet to a strictly regulated nutritional plan designed to protect his renal health. He prioritizes hydration and specific fitness routines that strengthen his body without triggering inflammatory responses. Despite the daily burden of managing a life-threatening illness, Cannon's career has only expanded. He serves as a living testament to the fact that a chronic diagnosis does not equate to a diminished life. By balancing clinical vigilance with an indomitable spirit, he continues to dominate the airwaves while advocating for lupus research and awareness. Halle Berry. The trajectory of Halle Berry's life shifted forever on the set of the television series Living Dolls in 1989. At just 22 years old, the aspiring starlet collapsed into a week-long coma, a terrifying void that would ultimately lead to a diagnosis of type 1 diabetes. While many would view such a severe metabolic disruption as a barrier to the physically demanding world of Hollywood action cinema, Berry utilized the crisis as a catalyst for a total physiological rebirth. She refused to let the requirement of insulin or the constant threat of blood sugar fluctuations dictate the boundaries of her ambition or her artistry. Understanding that conventional management was insufficient for her high-octane career, Berry became an early and vocal pioneer of the ketogenic lifestyle. By shifting her primary fuel source from glucose to healthy fats and proteins, she achieved a level of glycemic stability that allowed her to perform grueling stunts in films like John Wick and X-Men. Her dietary regimen is not a temporary fad, but a survival strategy, meticulously eliminating processed sugars and high-carbohydrate triggers that cause dangerous spikes. This disciplined approach is coupled with a rigorous fitness philosophy, incorporating martial arts yoga and functional strength training, proving that a chronic condition can be outpaced by sheer athletic commitment. Beyond her personal health, Berry has used her global platform to dismantle the stigma surrounding chronic illness. She has often spoken about the gift of the disease, noting that it forced her to prioritize self-care and nutritional awareness long before it became a mainstream trend. While she faced early criticism regarding her specific medical claims about weaning off insulin, which sparked vital conversations about the nuances between type 1 and type 2 management, her enduring legacy remains one of empowerment. She stands as a beacon for millions, demonstrating that a life-threatening diagnosis is not a ceiling, but a foundation upon which one can build a legendary decades-long career, defined by strength and grace. Richard Roundtree. Richard Roundtree, the actor who redefined in Black masculinity as the iconic detective John Shaft, faced his most daunting adversary, not on the gritty streets of cinematic New York, but within his own body. In 1993, while filming in Costa Rica, Roundtree discovered a small, unusual lump in his breast, at a time when breast cancer was almost exclusively framed as a woman's disease. The diagnosis of male breast cancer felt like a direct assault on his identity and career. Fearing that the industry would view him as damaged goods or less of a leading man, the ultimate tough guy chose to undergo a double mastectomy and rigorous chemotherapy in total secrecy. For 5 years, Roundtree carried the weight of survival alone, maintaining the persona of the invincible action star while privately navigating the grueling side effects of treatment. However, as he reached the milestone of being 5 years cancer-free, his perspective shifted from self-preservation to a higher purpose. He realized that his silence was inadvertently contributing to the stigma that kept other men from seeking life-saving screenings. In 1997, he courageously went public, shattering the myth that breast cancer was gender-specific. By lending his deep authoritative voice to the cause, he empowered men across the globe to prioritize their pectoral health, famously stating that cancer is not a gender issue. Until his passing in 2023, at the age of 81, Roundtree remained a tireless advocate for early detection. He used his legendary status to bridge the gap between hard-boiled Hollywood machismo and the vulnerability required for proactive healthcare. His journey transformed him from a cultural icon into a literal lifesaver, proving that true strength is found in the courage to be transparent. Roundtree's legacy is not just the films he left behind, but the countless men who sought medical help because they saw their hero do it first. He remains the ultimate example of how one man's bravery can redefine the health narrative for an entire generation. Matthew Knowles. Matthew Knowles, the high-powered architect behind the global dominance of Destiny's Child and the solo career of his daughter Beyoncé, found himself facing a crisis that no amount of strategic marketing could resolve. In 2019, the music mogul noticed a recurring, peculiar symptom: tiny blood droplets appearing on his white shirts and bed sheets. While many might have dismissed this as a minor skin irritation, Knowles' sharp intuition led him to seek a professional medical evaluation. The subsequent mammogram and biopsy delivered a shocking verdict: stage 1A male breast cancer. For a man accustomed to being the ultimate problem solver, this diagnosis was a stark reminder that biological vulnerability is the great equalizer. Instead of navigating his recovery in the shadows, Knowles leveraged his influential platform to launch a public health crusade. He became a vocal advocate for genetic literacy, particularly after discovering he carried the BRCA, a 2-gene mutation which significantly increases the risk of breast, prostate, and pancreatic cancers. This revelation transformed his personal struggle into a family mission. He immediately urged his daughters to undergo genetic testing, emphasizing that knowledge is the most potent weapon against hereditary illness. He underwent a unilateral mastectomy to remove the tumor and several lymph nodes, achieving remission through swift, decisive action and high-level clinical care. Knowles has since dedicated his life to rebranding the conversation around the disease. He famously advocates for the term male chest cancer to strip away the feminine associations that often prevent men from seeking early mammograms. By partnering with organizations like Be Bright Pink, he educates the public on how family history and genetic markers dictate health outcomes. His journey highlights a crucial intersection of celebrity and service, proving that transparency can dismantle the stigma surrounding male vulnerability. Matthew Knowles stands today not just as a titan of the music industry, but as a tireless advocate who turned a life-threatening diagnosis into a life-saving movement for men and their families worldwide. Toni Braxton. Toni Braxton, the multi-Grammy-winning contralto, known for her velvety, soulful ballads, faced a life-altering turning point in 2008 that nearly silenced her legendary voice. During a high-stakes residency in Las Vegas, the Unbreak My Heart singer collapsed on stage, an event initially dismissed by some as mere exhaustion. However, the medical reality was far more sinister. Braxton was diagnosed with systemic lupus erythematosus (SLE), a cruel autoimmune condition where the body's internal defense mechanism turns inward relentlessly, attacking healthy tissues and vital organs. For Braxton, the disease manifested with life-threatening intensity, specifically targeting her heart and blood vessels, leading to microvascular angina and a heightened risk of stroke. The transition from a global superstar to a patient navigating a chronic, incurable illness was a grueling psychological and physical odyssey. Doctors initially advised her to conceal her condition, fearing the entertainment industry would deem her uninsurable and end her touring career. Yet Braxton chose the path of radical honesty. She dismantled the perfection of celebrity life by revealing the agonizing fatigue chest pains and the complex regimen of corticosteroids and chemotherapy-based medications required to keep her immune system in check. Her transparency brought a much-needed spotlight to a disease that disproportionately affects women of color, transforming her from a pop icon into a global ambassador for the Lupus Foundation of America. Despite facing several emergency hospitalizations over the years, including a terrifying 2016 incident that required a prolonged recovery, Braxton's resilience remains her defining characteristic. She has meticulously adapted her lifestyle, embracing a plant-based diet, rigorous rest schedules, and a moderated performance pace to protect her cardiovascular health. Her journey is a masterclass in living with the invisible disability, proving that a diagnosis does not dictate the end of one's dreams. Today, Toni Braxton continues to grace the stage, her voice serving as a powerful anthem for millions of lupus warriors who find strength in her refusal to be broken by a body at war with itself. Roker. Roker, the jovial and beloved weatherman who has greeted America's mornings for decades on NBC's Today Show, faced a personal storm in September 2020. During a routine annual physical, his physician noticed a slight elevation in his prostate-specific antigen, PSA levels. While Roker felt perfectly healthy, subsequent biopsies confirmed a sobering reality. He had an aggressive form of prostate cancer. For a man whose career is built on clarity and forecasting, this sudden medical cloud required immediate decisive action. Roker chose to undergo a radical prostatectomy, a major surgery to remove the prostate gland at Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center, effectively neutralizing the threat before it could metastasize. Roker's decision to go public with his diagnosis was a calculated move to save lives. He recognized that as a Black man, he belonged to a demographic that is statistically 50% more likely to develop prostate cancer and twice as likely to die from it compared to other races. By documenting his journey from the hospital bed back to the studio, he transformed his personal crisis into a national awareness campaign. He emphasized that his survival was not just a matter of luck, but a result of early detection and the privilege of quality healthcare. His message was simple yet profound. If you detect it early, this is a very treatable disease. Beyond the surgery, Roker has maintained his trademark resilience through a commitment to holistic wellness and physical therapy. He has been candid about the challenges of recovery, including the fatigue and the importance of post-operative care. His return to the airwaves just weeks after surgery served as a powerful testament to his strength and the efficacy of modern medicine. Today, Roker continues to use his platform to urge men, particularly those in the Black community, to know their numbers and schedule regular screenings. He stands as a living forecast of hope, proving that with a proactive mindset and early intervention, one can weather even the most life-threatening of biological storms. Regina King, a powerhouse of American cinema and television, has built a legacy defined by profound depth and unbreakable poise. However, in 2019, the Oscar and Emmy-winning actress faced a private plot twist that no script could prepare her for a diagnosis of a rare and aggressive form of breast cancer. For a woman whose career was reaching its zenith with directorial masterpieces and acclaimed performances, the sudden intrusion of a life-threatening malignancy was a stark reminder of the frailty behind the fame. Rather than allowing the diagnosis to become a media spectacle, King approached her battle with the same meticulous discipline she brings to her craft, choosing a path of focused healing and strategic privacy. The journey through treatment was an arduous marathon of surgery and intensive chemotherapy. Throughout this grueling period, King demonstrated a remarkable ability to maintain her professional momentum while her body underwent a chemical and physical war. She used the challenge as a catalyst to deepen her advocacy for healthcare equity, particularly highlighting the disparities in medical outcomes for Black women. By eventually sharing her story, she didn't just ask for sympathy, she issued a call to action. She emphasized that early detection is not merely a medical suggestion, but a vital necessity, urging women to listen to their bodies with the same intensity that an actor listens to a scene partner. Regina King's transition into remission has been marked by an even more vibrant commitment to her art and her community. She stands as a testament to the idea that a survivor's strength is not just measured by the absence of disease, but by the richness of the life lived afterward. Her resilience has inspired countless individuals to view a cancer diagnosis not as a final curtain call, but as a complex, challenging intermission. Today, Tay King continues to dominate Hollywood, her presence serving as a beacon of hope and a reminder that even in the face of the most daunting biological adversaries, grace and determination can lead to a triumphant second act. Magic Johnson. On November 7, 1991, Earvin Magic Johnson performed the most significant move of his career, though it didn't happen on a basketball court. In a press conference that froze the world, the Lakers superstar announced he was HIV positive. At the time, HIV was widely perceived as a rapid death sentence, shrouded in intense social stigma and misinformation. Johnson's revelation didn't just stun the sports world, it forced a global conversation about a virus that many believed only affected specific marginalized communities. By standing tall and smiling in the face of a diagnosis that felt like a final buzzer, Magic transitioned from a sports hero to a global pioneer of public health. Magic's survival over the last 3 decades is a living laboratory of medical advancement. He became an early adopter of the revolutionary cocktail of antiretroviral drugs, which effectively suppressed the virus to undetectable levels in his bloodstream. However, his health was not maintained by medication alone. He transformed his entire existence into a temple of wellness. He adopted a high-performance lifestyle characterized by elite nutritional choices and a legendary 4 a.m. fitness routine that would challenge an athlete in half his age. His physical vitality shattered the image of the frail HIV patient, proving that with the right treatment and a proactive mindset, one could not only live, but thrive. Beyond his personal biology, the Magic Johnson Foundation has channeled millions into underserved communities, providing testing, education, and resources to combat the epidemic. Magic dismantled the shame associated with the virus, showing that HIV is a condition to be managed, not a character flaw to be hidden. Today, as a billionaire businessman and advocate, he remains the most famous face of long-term HIV survival. His legacy is etched in the lives of millions who no longer fear an HIV test because a man named Magic showed the world that a diagnosis is simply the start of a new empowered chapter. Ananda Lewis, the radiant former MTV VJ and talk show host who captivated audiences in the late 90s, faced a harrowing medical crossroad in 2019. At 47, Lewis was diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer, a moment that demanded immediate and aggressive clinical intervention. However, driven by a desire for autonomy and a fear of invasive procedures, Lewis initially chose a path that deviated from standard medical advice. She declined a recommended double mastectomy, opting instead to fight the malignancy through holistic means, homeopathic remedies, a radical overhaul of her sleep hygiene, and intense dietary shifts. This decision was a deeply personal attempt to preserve the physical integrity of her body while battling a formidable internal foe. The reality of cancer, however, proved to be an unyielding adversary. Despite her rigorous commitment to natural healing, the disease advanced to stage 4, metastasizing to other regions of her body. This progression served as a profound and painful wake-up call, forcing Lewis to reconcile her holistic beliefs with the urgent necessity of modern oncology. In late 2020, she chose to go public with her journey, not to showcase a perfect recovery, but to offer a raw, cautionary tale. By revealing her regret over delaying conventional treatment, she transformed her vulnerability into a powerful educational tool for women everywhere, particularly Black women who often face systemic barriers and historical distrust in healthcare. Today, Ananda Lewis is a fierce advocate for integrative health, emphasizing that while lifestyle changes are vital, they must work in tandem with early clinical detection and medical science. She uses her platform to urge women to prioritize mammograms and to listen to the warning signs of their bodies without delay. Her journey is a masterclass in the humility of survival. It takes immense strength to admit a mistake on a global stage. By sharing the high stakes of her battle with stage 4 cancer, Lewis has likely saved countless lives, proving that true resilience lies in the ability to pivot, learn, and fight back with every available weapon. Tionne Watkins. Tionne Watkins, the cool, raspy voice leader of the legendary R&B group TLC, has lived a life defined by a biological battle that began long before she found fame. Diagnosed at the age of 7 with sickle cell anemia, a hereditary blood disorder, Watkins was given a grim prognosis. Doctors predicted she would not survive, past the age of 30, would never have children, and would spend her life physically incapacitated. In sickle cell, the red blood cells, normally supple and round, become rigid and crescent-shaped, causing them to get stuck in small blood vessels. This results in crisis episodes of excruciating pain, organ damage, and severe fatigue due to a lack of oxygen throughout the body. For T-Boz, the height of global superstardom was often synchronized with secret hospitalizations. While the world danced to no scrub, Watkins was frequently battling life-threatening complications behind the scenes, including a ruptured spleen and a brain tumor later in 2006. She describes the pain of a sickle cell crisis as glass shards moving through your veins. Despite these agonizing obstacles, she shattered every medical limitation placed upon her. She became a mother, maintained a grueling touring schedule, and outlived her original life expectancy by decades. She refused to let her sick life, as she titled her memoir, diminish her creative output or her indomitable spirit. Today, T-Boz stands as the most prominent global face for sickle cell awareness. Through her advocacy and her work with the Sickle Cell Disease Association of America, she has transitioned from a patient to a powerful educator. She speaks candidly about the importance of hydration, stress management, and the need for better funding for a disease that primarily affects the Black community. Her journey is a masterclass in defiance. She didn't just survive a chronic illness, she conquered it while revolutionizing the music industry. T-Boz remains a living icon of resilience, proving that while a genetic code may set the stage, it does not have the final say in how a person performs their life's work. Robin Roberts. Robin Roberts, the anchor of ABC's Good Morning America, has faced a series of health tribulations that would have broken a lesser spirit. Her journey into the world of medical resilience began in 2007, when during a self-examination inspired by a story she was working on, she discovered a lump. It was diagnosed as triple-negative breast cancer, an aggressive subtype that disproportionately affects Black women and lacks common hormonal targets for treatment. Roberts met the challenge with public grace, undergoing surgery, chemotherapy, and radiation, all while continuing to inform and inspire millions of viewers. However, her greatest test arrived 5 years later, just as she was celebrating being cancer-free. In 2012, Roberts was diagnosed with myelodysplastic syndrome, MDS, a rare and life-threatening blood disorder affecting the bone marrow, often caused by previous intensive cancer treatments. The only hope for survival was a bone marrow transplant. The search for a donor ended within her own family. Her sister, Sally Ann Roberts, was a perfect match. On September 20th, 2012, the world watched as Roberts underwent the high-stakes procedure. Her battle became a national narrative of courage as she documented the grueling physical toll of the transplant, from losing her hair to the profound exhaustion of a rebooted immune system. Roberts' return to the anchor desk in February 2013 was more than a professional comeback. It was a victory for patients everywhere. She transformed her personal trauma into a lifelong mission for donor awareness, leading to a massive surge in bone marrow registry signups. Her mantra, "Optimism is a muscle that you have to work," became a lifeline for those facing their own valleys. Today, as a two-time survivor, Roberts stands as a titan of resilience. She proves that while health crises are inevitable, they can be met with a strength that not only saves your own life, but paves a path of hope for the entire world. Charlie Wilson. Charlie Wilson, the legendary lead singer of the Gap Band, whose iconic voice has spanned generations of funk and R&B, found himself at a terrifying crossroads in 2008. Known for his high-energy performances and flamboyant style, Wilson's world came to a halt when a routine physical examination prompted by the insistent urging of his wife Mahan revealed an aggressive form of prostate cancer. For a man who had already survived the depths of homelessness and drug addiction in the 1990s, this new biological threat felt like an insurmountable wall. Initially devastated, Wilson feared the diagnosis would effectively end his rejuvenated career and silence the voice that had become a staple of American music. However, Wilson approached his treatment with the same precision he applies to his vocal arrangements. He opted for brachytherapy, a sophisticated form of internal radiation treatment where tiny radioactive seeds are permanently implanted into the prostate gland to neutralize the malignancy from within. This targeted approach allowed him to fight the cancer with minimal disruption to his physical vitality. The treatment was a resounding success, leading to complete remission. But for Uncle Charlie, simply surviving was not enough. He felt a profound responsibility to use his legendary status to address a silent epidemic. Today, Charlie Wilson is one of the most visible advocates for prostate cancer awareness, particularly focusing on the Black community, where men face significantly higher rates of diagnosis and mortality. Partnering with the Prostate Cancer Foundation, he launched the Power in Our Voices campaign, traveling across the country to dismantle the fear and stigma surrounding rectal exams and PSA testing. He often shares his story on stage, blending his timeless hits with a life-saving message of early detection. His journey proves that vulnerability is a form of strength, showing the world that a diagnosis, when caught early, can be nothing more than a temporary pause in a legendary symphony. Vanessa Bell Calloway. Ananda Lewis, the radiant former MTV VJ and talk show host who captivated audiences in the late 90s, faced a harrowing medical crossroad in 2019. At 47, Lewis was diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer, a moment that demanded immediate and aggressive clinical intervention. However, driven by a desire for autonomy and a fear of invasive procedures, Lewis initially chose a path that deviated from standard medical advice. She declined a recommended double mastectomy, opting instead to fight the malignancy through holistic means, homeopathic remedies, a radical overhaul of her sleep hygiene, and intense dietary shifts. This decision was a deeply personal attempt to preserve the physical integrity of her body while battling a formidable internal foe. The reality of cancer, however, proved to be an unyielding adversary. Despite her rigorous commitment to natural healing, the disease advanced to stage 4, metastasizing to other regions of her body. This progression served as a profound and painful wake-up call, forcing Lewis to reconcile her holistic beliefs with the urgent necessity of modern oncology. In late 2020, she chose to go public with her journey, not to showcase a perfect recovery, but to offer a raw, cautionary tale. By revealing her regret over delaying conventional treatment, she transformed her vulnerability into a powerful educational tool for women everywhere, particularly Black women, who often face systemic barriers and historical distrust in healthcare. Today, Ananda Lewis is a fierce advocate for integrative health, emphasizing that while lifestyle changes are vital, they must work in tandem with early clinical detection and medical science. She uses her platform to urge women to prioritize mammograms and to listen to the warning signs of their bodies without delay. Her journey is a masterclass in the humility of survival. It takes an immense strength to admit a mistake on a global stage. By sharing the high stakes of her battle with stage 4 cancer, Lewis has likely saved countless lives, proving that true resilience lies in the ability to pivot, learn, and fight back with every available weapon. Missy Elliott. Missy Elliott, the visionary architect of futuristic hip-hop and R&B, has spent her career redefining the boundaries of sound and visual art. However, in 2008, the misdemeanor herself was forced into a sudden, agonizing hiatus by a biological glitch that no amount of studio magic could fix. The world-renowned rapper and producer was diagnosed with Graves' disease, a chronic autoimmune disorder that causes the thyroid gland to become hyperactive. For Missy, the symptoms were catastrophic. She suffered from extreme weight loss, debilitating hair loss, severe skin changes, and terrifying leg spasms. One particular episode nearly caused a fatal car accident when her nervous system locked up while she was driving, signaling that her life was in immediate peril. The diagnosis was a devastating blow to a performer known for her high-octane energy and avant-garde choreography. Graves' disease essentially puts the body's metabolism into a permanent state of overdrive, leading to thyroid storms that can trigger heart failure if left unmanaged. Missy disappeared from the limelight for years, a period shrouded in mystery, as she privately battled the physical and emotional toll of the condition. She described the trauma of watching her body transform, her eyes bulging and her hair falling out, as a period of deep spiritual testing. Yet instead of surrendering, Missy embarked on a holistic and clinical reconstruction of her life, utilizing radiation therapy, a strict nutritional regimen, and a disciplined exercise routine to stabilize her volatile hormones. Missy Elliott's triumphant return to the stage, most notably her show-stopping 2015 Super Bowl performance, and her 2023 induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame stands as a monumental victory for anyone battling invisible illnesses. By choosing to speak openly about her Graves' journey, she dismantled the myth that celebrities are immune to systemic dysfunction. She proved that even when your own body becomes an enemy, a combination of medical science, faith, and lifestyle management can lead back to the throne. Today, Missy remains a super-duper-fly icon of resilience, showing the world that while Graves may be a lifelong condition, it doesn't have the power to stop a legend from making history. Dr. Jacqueline Walters. Dr. Jacqueline Walters, known to millions as Dr. Jackie, from Bravo's Married to Medicine, is a high-profile OBGYN who has dedicated her life to the health of women. However, the doctor became the patient in 2004 when she was first diagnosed with breast cancer. For someone who spent her days delivering babies and screening patients for malignancies, the diagnosis was a surreal inversion of her reality. She faced the disease with clinical precision and personal grit, undergoing a lumpectomy and radiation. Yet the true test of her fortitude arrived in 2008 when the cancer returned more aggressive than before. This second diagnosis forced Dr. Jackie to make the grueling decision to undergo a double mastectomy. The physical and emotional toll of a double mastectomy is profound, especially for a woman in the public eye. Dr. Jackie navigated the loss of her breasts while continuing to maintain a demanding medical practice and a burgeoning television career. She realized that while her surgical scars were hidden, the trauma of the survivor was something many women carried in silence. This realization sparked a new professional calling. In 2013, she founded the 50 Shades of Pink Foundation, an organization focused on the holistic wellness of breast cancer survivors. Her foundation goes beyond clinical treatment, focusing on the inner and outer beauty of women to help them reclaim their confidence and femininity after the ravages of surgery and chemotherapy. Today, Dr. Jackie stands as a premier authority on women's health and breast cancer advocacy. She uses her dual perspective as both an elite surgeon and a two-time survivor to bridge the gap between medical expertise and patient empathy. She is a fierce proponent of self-examinations and early mammography, often reminding her followers that cancer does not discriminate. Her journey has transformed her from a successful physician into a symbol of resilience for women worldwide. Dr. Jackie continues to practice medicine and advocate for survivors, proving that even when a doctor faces a life-threatening crisis, the experience can become a powerful tool for healing an entire community. Wanda Sykes. Wanda Sykes, the legendary comedian and actress known for her acerbic wit and unmistakable voice, faced a profound medical turning point in 2011. During a routine breast reduction surgery lab, results from the removed tissue revealed a startling discovery: ductal carcinoma in situ DCIS in her left breast. Often termed stage 0 cancer, DCIS consists of abnormal cells contained within the milk ducts. While not yet invasive, it is a high-risk precursor to life-threatening malignancy. For Sykes, a woman who built a career on finding the absurdity in everyday life, this biological reality was no laughing matter. It was a silent alarm that required immediate strategic action to safeguard her future and her family. Faced with a family history of the disease and a personal diagnosis that indicated a high probability of recurrence, Sykes made a monumental and deeply personal decision. She opted for a bilateral mastectomy, the surgical removal of both breasts. This choice was not made out of panic, but out of a desire for absolute certainty. Sykes famously quipped in her stand-up specials that she didn't want to take any chance, but beneath the humor was the raw courage of a woman choosing a radical physical transformation to ensure she would be there to see her children grow up. Her decision put her in the company of a small but vocal group of public figures prioritizing long-term survival over aesthetic preservation. Since her surgery and subsequent recovery, Sykes has used her comedic platform to demystify the process of cancer prevention and mastectomy. She dismantled the heavy and tragic atmosphere often associated with the disease, replacing it with a narrative of empowerment and proactive health management. By being candid about her stage 0 journey, she educated millions on the importance of early detection and the validity of aggressive preventive measures. Today, Wanda Sykes remains cancer-free and as sharp as ever. She stands as a beacon of resilience, proving that taking control of one's health is the ultimate power move, and that even in the face of the most serious diagnoses, a strong spirit and a bit of humor can be the best medicine. Anthony Anderson. Anthony Anderson, the Emmy-nominated star of Blackish, spent years embodying the persona of the jovial big man in Hollywood. However, in 2002, his world shifted during a period of extreme physical exhaustion. He found himself napping excessively and consuming nearly 5 gallons of water in a single night. A visit to the doctor confirmed a diagnosis of type 2 diabetes, a metabolic disorder where the body becomes resistant to insulin, leading to dangerously high blood glucose levels. For Anderson, the news was a sobering echo of his family history. He had watched his father succumb to complications from the same disease, a trauma that initially fueled a sense of fatalism. The turning point came not from fear, but from a commitment to legacy. Realizing that his children needed a healthy father, Anderson underwent a radical lifestyle transformation. He transitioned from a soul food-heavy diet to a strictly regulated regimen, focused on lean proteins, complex carbohydrates, and plant-based nutrition. This wasn't a temporary fix, but a permanent metabolic recalibration. He paired this nutritional discipline with a grueling fitness routine, eventually losing over 47 pounds. By stabilizing his blood sugar through weight management and clinical oversight, Anderson moved from being a victim of his genetics to a master of his physiology. Today, Anthony Anderson is one of the most prominent voices in the global fight against diabetes. Through his partnership with organizations like Novo Nordisk and his Get Real About Diabetes campaign, he works to dismantle the myths surrounding the disease, particularly in the Black community, where type 2 diabetes is 60% more prevalent. He advocates for knowing your A1C numbers with the same intensity he brings to a lead role. His journey proves that a chronic diagnosis is not a life sentence, but a mandate for change. Anderson stands as a living testament to the fact that with discipline and proactive care, you can rewrite your biological script and turn a health crisis into a blueprint for a vibrant, long-lasting life. Bershan Shaw. Bershan Shaw, the dynamic business coach and star of The Real Housewives of New York City, is the living embodiment of medical defiance. Her odyssey began in 2007, just days before her wedding, when she was diagnosed with breast cancer. She underwent treatment and entered remission, believing the nightmare was behind her. However, the true test arrived 3 years later in 2010. The cancer hadn't just returned, it had metastasized to her lungs and bones. Doctors delivered a devastating verdict. She had stage 4 breast cancer and was given only 3 months to live. For most, this would be the final curtain, but for Shaw, it was the start of a miraculous counteroffensive. Refusing to accept a death sentence, Shaw combined aggressive conventional medicine with a psychological overhaul. She underwent intensive chemotherapy that ravaged her body, but she countered the physical decay with what she calls the warrior method. She transformed her mindset utilizing visualization, rigorous nutritional shifts, and an unbreakable will to survive. She didn't just fight for herself, she documented her journey to prove that stage 4 doesn't have to mean the end. Her doctors were stunned as her tumors began to shrink and eventually disappeared altogether. Her survival defied every statistical probability in the oncology handbook, marking her as a true medical miracle. Today, Bershan Shaw has been in remission for over a decade, a feat that challenges the very definition of terminal illness. She has transitioned from a survivor to a global motivational powerhouse, founding the URA Warrior platform to support others facing life-altering crises. She speaks with a raw, unfiltered energy about the disparity in healthcare for Black women and the necessity of being one's own fiercest advocate in the exam room. Her legacy is one of radical hope, proving that the human spirit, when coupled with medical science and relentless tenacity, can overcome even the most dire biological odds. Nene Leaks. Missy Elliott, the visionary architect of futuristic hip-hop and R&B, has spent her career redefining the boundaries of sound and visual art. However, in 2008, the misdemeanor herself was forced into a sudden, agonizing hiatus by a biological glitch that no amount of studio magic could fix. The world-renowned rapper and producer was diagnosed with Graves' disease, a chronic autoimmune disorder that causes the thyroid gland to become hyperactive. For Missy, the symptoms were catastrophic. She suffered from extreme weight loss, debilitating hair loss, severe skin changes, and terrifying leg spasms. One particular episode nearly caused a fatal car accident when her nervous system locked up while she was driving, signaling that her life was in immediate peril. The diagnosis was a devastating blow to a performer known for her high-octane energy and avant-garde choreography. Graves' disease essentially puts the body's metabolism into a permanent state of overdrive, leading to thyroid storms that can trigger heart failure if left unmanaged. Missy disappeared from the limelight for years, a period shrouded in mystery, as she privately battled the physical and emotional toll of the condition. She described the trauma of watching her body transform, her eyes bulging and her hair falling out, as a period of deep spiritual testing. Yet instead of surrendering, Missy embarked on a holistic and clinical reconstruction of her life, utilizing radiation therapy, a strict nutritional regimen, and a disciplined exercise routine to stabilize her volatile hormones. Missy Elliott's triumphant return to the stage, most notably her show-stopping 2015 Super Bowl performance and her 2023 induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, stands as a monumental victory for anyone battling invisible illnesses. By choosing to speak openly about her Graves' journey, she dismantled the myth that celebrities are immune to systemic dysfunction. She proved that even when your own body becomes an enemy, a combination of medical science, faith, and lifestyle management can lead back to the throne. Today, Missy remains a super-duper fly icon of resilience, showing the world that while Graves may be a lifelong condition, it doesn't have the power to stop a legend from making history. Gabourey Sidibe. Gabourey Sidibe, the Oscar-nominated star of Precious and Empire, has navigated a career defined by immense talent and an unapologetic presence in an industry obsessed with a narrow aesthetic. However, behind her confident exterior, Sidibe spent over a decade battling type 2 diabetes and clinical depression. For years, she attempted to manage her health through traditional dieting and exercise, but her metabolism proved resistant. In 2016, following her brother's diagnosis with the same condition, Sidibe faced a moment of profound clarity. Her struggle was no longer about vanity, but about survival. She realized that to continue her creative journey, she needed a medical intervention that matched the severity of her condition. In a move of radical self-care, Sidibe chose to undergo laparoscopic bariatric surgery, weight loss surgery. This was not a shortcut, as critics often suggest, but a strategic clinical tool to alter her body's chemistry and curb the progression of her diabetes. The surgery was a success, but the physical change was only half the battle. Sidibe used her recovery period to confront the psychological roots of her relationship with food and her body, documenting her journey in her memoir, This Is Just My Face. By being transparent about the procedure, she dismantled the stigma surrounding weight loss surgery, reframing it as a legitimate medical choice for those battling metabolic dysfunction. Today, Gabourey Sidibe stands as a powerful advocate for body autonomy and holistic health. She has successfully managed her diabetes and continues to thrive in Hollywood, not as a smaller version of herself, but as a healthier, more energized one. Her journey is a masterclass in breaking free from societal expectations. She proved that taking control of your health sometimes requires asking for help from science. Sidibe continues to inspire millions by showing that self-love isn't just about accepting where you are. It's about having the courage to do whatever is necessary to ensure you have a long, vibrant future. Each legend we've discussed, from Toni Braxton's battle with lupus to Gabourey Sidibe's metabolic surgery, proves that Black excellence is as much about physical resilience as it is about professional success. These icons didn't just survive, they dismantled stigmas and used their platforms to advocate for a community often overlooked by the healthcare system. At Black Excellence Legends, we believe sharing these stories saves lives. However, a pressing question remains: should celebrities be obligated to publicize their private medical traumas to drive public awareness? Or does this demand for transparency infringe upon their right to heal in peace? What do you think?